Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself Alfia Qureshi. So in the last video we talked about the carrying angle. Now in this video we will be discussing about our last joint of upper limb, that is wrist joint. Okay. So today's topic is wrist joint. So here is a diagram of wrist joint. This one is the wrist joint. So first of all, the variety. So it is a synovial joint of ellipsoid variety. Okay, ellipsoid joint. So what is ellipsoid joint? It is almost same as the ball and socket joint. Like we have a ball here and a socket, but in ball and socket, the ball and socket both are circular, more round, but in ellipsoid, both of these are oval or ellipsoid shaped. Okay, the ball is also oval and the socket is also ellipsoid shaped. So you can see here the socket is formed by this lower surface of radius, and the ball is formed by these three carpal bones: trichytral, lunate, scaphoid bones. Okay, so let's see the articular surfaces now. Articular surface. So upper is formed by the lower surface of radius and also the articular disc of radio-ulnar joint, lower radio-ulnar joint. Okay, and ulna is not participating in the formation of wrist joint, and the lower articular surface is formed by the three carpal bones, proximal row, which is in direct contact with this radius bone. So the names are scaphoid, lunate, and trichytral. So these three bones are forming the lower articular surface. Now let's see. So here in this diagram you can see the wrist joint. You can clearly see that the ulna is not participating, only the radius is participating, and the articular disc, which is like this, of this inferior radio-ulnar joint, is participating in formation. And then these three bones, mainly this one is the trichytral, this one is lunate, and this one is the scaphoid bone. Okay, so this is wrist joint. And we also have a mid-carpal joint, and then we have carpometacarpal joint over here. This one is a carpometacarpal, this one is the mid-carpal joint. Okay, so we have three joints in this plane. Now let's see the ligaments. So ligaments. So we have 6 ligaments total. Let's name them first. So the first one is articular capsule. Next we have 2 palmar carpal, radiocarpal and ulnocarpal, and then 1 dorsal carpal. Okay, one on the posterior side and 2 on the anterior side. dorsal carpal ligament. Then we have radial collateral and ulnar collateral. Okay, radial collateral and ulnar collateral. So first we'll see the articular ligament. Articular ligament is the one which is surrounding whole joint, like it is upper attachment is on the lower surface of radius and ulna, and lower attachment is on the 3 carpal bones. So it is covering whole joint, like it is originating from here and inserting on here, like it is covering the whole joint. Okay, now next we have 2 carpals, palmar carpal, so first one is the palmar radiocarpal, so its upper attachment is on the lower surface of radius and lower attachments is on the 3 carpals. Okay, so it is like originating from let's have a diagram. So this one is the radius and this is ulna, and here we have these 3 carpal bones. So this ligament is originating from the lower surface, lower margin of the radius bone, and then originating on these carpal bones. Okay, so this is the radiocarpal ligament. Originating on inserting on these 3. Okay, then we have palmar ulnocarpal. So again these are the 3 carpal bones, so originating from the lower margin of ulna and inserting on the 2 only. Okay, not all 3, inserting on only the scaphoid and lunate. Okay, so let's write down. Next we have the palmar ulnocarpal. So its upper attachment is on the ulna and lower is on the scaphoid and lunate only. Now next we have the dorsal carpal, that is the one on the posterior side, dorsal side of the wrist or the palm hand. So its upper surface will be dorsal radiocarpal, actually radiocarpal. So upper surface is on the radius, posterior side, lower margin of the radius on posterior side, and lower will be again on the 3 carpal bones, posterior side of the carpal bones. Okay, so this is a diagram. This one is the radius bone, this one is the ulna, and this is scaphoid, this one is lunate, and this is triquetral bone. So it is originating from here from the radius and then going over these 3 bones. Okay, covering all these 3 bones from here. So this is the dorsal radiocarpal. Now next we have radial collateral. So for radial collateral, it is in this diagram. You can see it is a radial collateral originating from the tip of base of styloid process of radius and inserting on the lateral side of scaphoid bone. And same the ulnar collateral originating from the tip of styloid process of ulna and inserting on the lateral medial side of the triquetral bone. Okay, so these are the 2 last ligaments of the wrist joint, radial collateral and ulnar collateral. So this is about the ligaments of wrist joint. So now let's move on to the relation of wrist joint. Let's talk about the relations. The relations are very easy and mainly we have anterior and posterior relation. So in the anterior relation we have the tendon of flexor muscles. Okay, the flexor muscles are originating from the common flexor origin. Some of these are so long that they are passing all through your palm and fingers, also up to the tip of your fingers. So the tendons of those long flexor muscles are in the anterior relation of wrist joint. Okay, so the tendon of long flexor muscles and also we have one nerve, that is median nerve. Now we have not taken ulnar nerve and ulnar artery and all those structures in the anterior relation because they are superficial to the flexor retinaculum, and here we have to take the structures which are in direct relation, direct contact to the wrist joint. So the median nerve is the only which is deep to the flexor retinaculum and which is in direct relation to the wrist joint. That's why we have taken only this nerve and not the ulnar nerve and ulnar artery. Okay, now for the posterior relations, we have the tendons of long extensor muscles. Okay, on the anterior side we have the flexor muscles and on the posterior side we will have the extensor muscles. So the tendons of extensor muscles. Okay, and then we also have a lateral relation. So in lateral relation we only have the radial artery. It is passing laterally because it is passing from this snout box over here on the lateral side. That's why it is in the lateral relation. Okay, so we have completed the relations also. Now let's talk about the blood supply. So the blood supply is by the palmar and dorsal carpal arches. So it is basically the anastomosis between radial and ulnar and median. This is the anastomosis between the arteries and forming arch-like structures. I have already made a video on the palmar arches, both superficial and deep palmar arches, so you can go and watch that video for better understanding. So yeah, these arches are going to supply the wrist joint also. Now for the nerve supply, so we have deep branches of, so for the nerves we have anterior, interosseous nerve, which is the deep branch of median nerve, and posterior interosseous nerve, which is the deep branch of radial nerve. So this is the nerve supply. So now let's move on to the movements of the wrist joint. So as I have told, the ellipsoid joint is almost same as the ball and socket, so the movements are also same. So here we have the flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and circumduction. But the thing is, the range of movements is not as much as the shoulder joint or the other ball and socket joints. Okay, so let's talk about the flexion. So flexion is basically this movement. When you move your hand like this on the anterior side, this is the flexion. So now, as I have told you that we have mid-carpal joint also here. So this flexion is mainly at this mid-carpal joint and not more at this wrist joint. Okay, so the muscles which are helping in the flexion is obviously the flexor muscles. So we have the flexor carpi, radialis, and flexor carpi ulnaris, and also the palmaris longus muscle also. Okay, so this is the flexion. Now extension. Now extension is when you move your hand back side. Okay, like this movement is the extension. So this extension is mainly at the wrist joint. Okay, and this one is at mid-carpal joint. Okay, so the muscles which are helping in extension are the extensor muscles. So we have extensor carpi, radialis, longus, and brevis. Two extensor carpi radialis muscles we have, that is longus and brevis. So both of them will help in the extension of wrist joint. And we also have extensor carpi ulnaris muscle. Then let's talk about the abduction. What is abduction? When you move any of your part of your body away from the midline, this is abduction. So in wrist, what is abduction? When you move it like this, okay, outside, very little movement you can see, and this adduction is this has a very like large range of movement, and in the abduction the movement is very little. So this abduction is also at mid-carpal mainly. After writing all this, I will show you it from the atlas also. So the muscles, which muscles are helping? So we are moving on the lateral side, so basically the muscles which are on the lateral side will help. So the extensor carpi radialis, and flexor carpi radialis and the muscles which are of thumb, that is muscles of pollicis, abductor pollicis, longus, extensor pollicis will help. Okay, and then we have adduction, that is moving your wrist on the medial side like this. You can see this movement is the adduction. So for adduction the muscles of medial side will help, and this adduction is mainly at the wrist joint. So you can see two of the movements are mainly at the wrist, that is adduction and extension, and two are at the mid-carpal, that is flexion and abduction. Okay, now which muscles are helping in adduction? These are the flexor carpi ulnaris and extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, so these muscles are helping in the adduction. And then fifth and last we have the circumduction, which is a combination of all four movements. Circumduction. So circumduction is like when we move our wrist in a circular motion. So this is the combination of all these movements. Now here in this diagram you can see, first let's see the flexion and extension. So this is the hand in flexion. So this is the position of hand in flexion. So you can see here the main movement is at this mid-carpal joint. This is mid-carpal, this is wrist joint, and this is the carpometacarpal. So you can clearly see this is straight, not much movement at the wrist, but the main movement of flexion is at this plane, is at the mid-carpal, no? And then in the extension, position of hand in the extension, you can clearly see the main movement is at the wrist joint. Okay, this plane is straight, this is straight, but the movement is at this wrist joint. Now let's see the position of hand in the abduction. So in the abduction you can see there is restricted movement because of this long styloid process of radius bone. So that's why the main movement is at this mid-carpal. And here in the adduction you can see that the styloid process of ulna is not much bigger as compared to the styloid process of radius. That's why you have much range of movement, much space here to move in adduction. That's why the main movement is at the wrist joint in adduction. Okay, so this is all about the movements also, and this is all about the wrist joint. Hope you guys understood it. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share this video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and also press the bell icon to get notified for the next videos. Thanks for watching this video.